Do you have any idea which one is the scariest movie ever? Or which film evokes the viewer's nightmares, fears, revulsions, or the macabre? Well, some movies are tense, also some movies are suspenseful, and then there are movies that scare the ever-living daylights out of you. But only one of those movies can stand above the rest. Today, we will show you the top 10 scariest movies that have ever been made, and surely it will give you goosebumps. So, don't skip the video, and please hit the subscribe button to stay tuned with our channel. Let's get started. Number 10, Poltergeist. Like many great horror movies, Poltergeist begins presenting a picturesque American family, living carefree in the suburbs. Everything seems fine and dandy until seemingly benevolent ghosts begin taking over their house. Needless to say, the ghost's true intentions quickly surface, and the daughter is sucked into a portal in her closet, able to communicate only via the family television set. It's extremely freaky, and it's better to stay far away from the sequels. Number 9, The Thing. This horror flick was directed by John Carpenter. In this movie, aliens are presented as lovable little creatures who were great with kids. This movie had a very different agenda, and it is instead of levitating bicycles, these aliens are shapeshifters that terrorize scientists in the Antarctic. The men never know whether they are dealing with a colleague or a vicious alien that has taken his form. It couldn't compete with the movie like E.T. and Blade Runner, but today, it is seen as an absolute classic of the genre. Number 8, Night of the Living Dead. This one was directed by George Romero, and this movie presented a young couple, where they forced to fend off a massive zombie attack at a Pennsylvania farm. Romero shot the movie on a micro-budget, and it quickly stirred up controversy due to scenes of graphic violence. This was before the MPAA rating systems, so children of all ages were allowed in. Obviously, the more negative press it generated, the longer the lines became. Romero shot many sequels over the past few decades, but the original remains the true masterpiece. Number 7, The Haunting. A movie about a diverse group of people forced to spend the night in an old haunted house that may sound like the most cliché story in the world. Based on Shirley Jackson's 1959 novel, The Haunting of Hill House, the haunting remains freakishly chilling all these years later. Much of the suspense comes from watching actress Julie Harris go completely insane. There's also a lesbian character, which was almost unheard of back then. Stephen King and Steven Spielberg came close to teaming up for a remake in the 1990s, and it finally happened in 1999. Number 6, Alien. There's something inherently freaky about any movie featuring aliens. Most people recognize there's no such thing as zombies, ghosts, werewolves, or demons from hell, but there's almost certainly an alien out there somewhere. In Ridley Scott's 1979 classic film, a group of astronauts in the distant future find themselves trapped on a spaceship with a vicious space creature that popped out a poor guy's stomach. The thing picks off the crew one by one, before a final showdown with Sigourney Weaver. Scott is a brilliant craftsman, letting tension slowly build until it becomes absolutely unbearable. James Cameron followed up with Aliens 7 years later, and unlike most horror movie sequels, it almost stands up to the original. Number 5, Texas Chainsaw Massacre. This movie gives all of us a hidden message, and that is, you didn't need a big budget, careful cinematography, and known actors to make a movie. You just needed a great idea, clever directing, and a willingness to push boundaries, because this movie was shot for just $300,000 with a cast of known actors, and this film shocked audiences in 1974, with its graphic violence and unforgettable images, like a woman impaled on a meat hook. Number 4, Halloween. These days, movies about mysterious, masked psychopaths who hunt down nubile teenagers are a dime a dozen, but back in 1978, this concept was somewhat novel. That's when John Carpenter unleashed Halloween on the world. The flick features Jamie Lee Curtis as Laurie Strode, a teenager who has a very bad Halloween after her brother escapes from an insane. Number 3, Psycho. This movie full of surprises, beginning with the simple fact that the leading lady is killed off 45 minutes into the movie. The film made a fortune and launched 3 sequels and a remake. Even, the trailer of the movie was brilliant. Instead of showing scenes from the movie, the director of the movie, Alfred Hitchcock, simply walks around the set and drops hints about the plot. Number 2, The Shining. This movie was directed by Stanley Kubrick, that has undergone a remarkable public reappraisal over the past 3 decades, because it's probably been analyzed, screened, and parodied more than any other movie in the Kubrick library. Critics loved the unrelenting tension, and Jack Nicholson's performance, as the homicidal Jack Torrance, was praised, but after the brilliance of films like 2001, A Space Odyssey, and Doctor Strangelove, it seemed like a minor work. Then, a funny thing happened. People began watching it over and over. And then, they came up with insane theories about the real meaning, and even sane people started seeing the movie as a twisted masterpiece. Number 1, The Exorcist. It's difficult for those who weren't around in 1973 to fully understand what happened when The Exorcist opened in theaters across America. Paramedics were called into some multiplexes because people were literally passing out. When little Regan vomited onto the priests, some audience members actually vomited into their popcorn. Nobody had ever seen anything this freaky, and everybody couldn't get enough of it. It stuck around for months and months, even as various groups called for a boycott. There have been countless movies since then about demonic possessions, and all of them owe a major debt to The Exorcist. So, viewers, we hope you enjoyed today's video on Top 10 Best Horror Movies in History. Let us know in the comment section, which movie scared you the most. Please subscribe, like, share, and be always with us for the next video.